Hey, what's up, everybody? You know what time it is. Your boy Jeffrey L. Boney here for another edition of Trending Tuesdays. I got the live studio audience in the building. Make some noise. Ooh, man, I tell you, they must be clapping for all of these wonderful men of God at the dais. I'm gonna call it the dais at my dais. We have we have a great conversation that we're gonna have today. Especially considering the climate in which we find ourselves on today. For those that don't know, I am Jeffrey L. Boney, and I'm excited to serve as the host of Trending Tuesdays, and want to shout out to Danette Davis. Let's give her a round of applause. We're here at the K. Davis Showroom Plus in the heart of Sunnyside, Houston, Texas.
The 5-1.
Okay, all right. And so, I'm South Park Third Ward, but it's all right. We still represent H-Town. And so we got some live music in the building, man. It's a lot going on. Chef Eddie's getting everything prepared for us here in the studio. But let's jump right into it. We have some outstanding guests on tonight, and I want to get their insights on where we are today and where we should be as far as our mindsets and our spiritual, being spiritually grounded, if we can, in the midst of all that we're dealing with. And I'm sure that they can tell us how we can and that we can. So first, I'll start off with my immediate right, my fellow Taurus, born May 6th, 1974, Dr. William Anthony Jordan. He serves as the pastor and founder of the Fellowship Church of Texas, right here in Houston, Texas. Being reared in a Christian home, he confessed Christ and was baptized in 1986, and he received and acknowledged his call to the ministry on August 15th, my daughter's birthday, 1993. 19 years old. 19 years old. And he received his license to preach God's word on January the 30th, 1994, and became an ordained minister on October the 21st, 1996, under the auspices of the Educational Baptist Association. He has, done a lot of great things, man, and he's authored a book called Storm Survivors.
All right.
Which was released in January of 2013. It's a power-filled, impactful message. It consists of spirit-filled, powerful messages on how-to methods for ministries and leadership training around the world. Let's give it up for Dr. William Anthony Jordan, y'all. Okay, got some fans up in here. Huh? All right. Next, we got to his immediate right, Pastor Darrell W. Boson. Yeah. You should get a good offering this Sunday, Pastor Lane. He accepted God's call to preach the uncompromising gospel of Jesus Christ in 1995 at Outreach Baptist Church. He is from Houston and was raised in Houston, Texas. What high school did you go to?
The only one, Jack Yates.
Oh, okay, all right. That's what I thought. Jack Yates High School. He became the youth pastor at St. Matthew Missionary Baptist Church under the leadership of Pastor Leroy Lacey in 1999, and soon after, Pastor Boson founded King's Kids Apparel, which designs clothing and brings awareness to the honor and blessings of being a child of the King. And in July 2015, New Hope Missionary Baptist Church of Houston, Texas, confirmed Reverend Boson as their senior pastor. And I want to say that they have a nickname for the church, the 8650.
8650.
All right, let's give it up for the 8650 and for Pastor Darrell W. Boson, y'all. And last but not least, I asked him if he wanted me to tell everybody he was an alpha, but I'll let him speak on that. But anyway, Dr. Calvin Jerome McFadden Sr., y'all. He is a native of Tampa, Florida. He is an honors graduate of Bethune-Cookman College, earning a Bachelor of Arts degree in sociology. He attended the Interdenominational Theological Center and earned a Master of Divinity degree in sociology of religion. And he also graduated from Florida State University's College of Human Sciences and was conferred the Doctor of Philosophy degree in Family and Child Sciences. He was called to the ministry at the tender age of 15
All right, all
and
right,
began
all
his
right.
pastoral ministry at the age of 18. You was under 20 as well when you started,
Yeah.
huh? Okay, man, all these teenagers. Where was I? Anyway, he began his pastoral ministry at the age of 18 as the pastor of St. Joseph United Methodist Church in DeLand, Florida. Did I pronounce that right? DeLand, Florida. For 2 years, Dr. McFadden served as senior pastor of Riceville, Mount Olive Baptist Church here in Houston, Texas. And in March 2022, he launched a new ministry, Cornerstone Community Church of Houston. Cornerstone, affectionately known as C3, is a multi-generational church serving the greater Houston area. And yeah, he's a member of Alpha Phi Alpha. All right, so we'll jump right now. No, let's give it up for all three of these wonderful men and men of God. So let's jump right into it. I'll start with you, Reverend McFadden. You see what's going on. All of you all see what's going on here in our United States of America. I saw, and it's so interesting, I saw just the other day this picture from the White House. There's a new department, or should I say something that the president created for faith leaders. And I saw all of these people who are part of this faith leaders group that have been assigned that were laying hands on the president and praying for him as he was sitting at the Oval, in the Oval at the desk. And so my question to you is God really on their side, or is he listening to them, or who is he listening to? Because it just seems like with all that's going on with chaos and turmoil and just seem like just uncertainty. A lot of people are just afraid right now. They're losing their jobs. They don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. What are we to make of this from a spiritual perspective?
And I'm glad you added that point, because sometimes I wonder, should I answer from a spiritual perspective or a personal perspective?
We'll do both. I want you to do both.
Personally, I do question and challenge them as to the validity and the integrity of their actions, because I have always believed that God is on the side of the oppressed. And I think that others, those of us who are struggling to understand how the White House and its current occupant can make all of these decisions that really don't seem to have the best interest in mind of folks that look like you and me, and other folks who have now been asked to leave our country, are forced to leave our country. They're firing people in record numbers with no place for them to go and no job security for them to have. I trust that God is supreme and that he will rule and he makes the final decisions. But I will tell you that as a pastor and as a person, sometimes I struggle with understanding the will of God in the person through the person of Donald Trump. I still recognize him as president, but I do pray for him daily that the Lord would change his heart, that the Lord would allow him to do what is best and right for all people, and not just for those that we see who are billionaires and folks who have the money and those who are making decisions that will affect the rest of the country. And so I'm giving a very nice and cordial answer, because in private I say some other things that very well may not be good for the podcast. But
they're welcome. Just know they're welcome for the podcast.
But I do. My heart really goes out to. You mentioned that we, the United States of America, and I think it was Dr. Maya Angelou, whose picture's over there, who said that we are the yet-to-be United States of America, because we are not united in any form or fashion. And I am challenged by the folks who see Donald Trump as the prophet, as the Messiah, as the Savior. And I wonder what religion, what Bible that they're reading, because none of what he represents or who he is signifies that he is the Savior for the United States of America.
Well, Reverend Bolson, Pastor Bolson, thank you. Let's give it up for that response. Kind of piggybacking on what he's talking about, he talked about the fact that, he's trying to wonder what Bible or what
Yeah,
God they're
yeah.
praying to or reading out of. I often ask that as well, because while we feel the way we may feel about the situation, they strongly believe that they're on the side of right and that they're on God's side here.
Absolutely. Well, my thoughts are this. First of all, you mentioned about the picture of him being in the Oval with all of these folk laying hands on. You can stage anything to make it look like whatever you want it to look like. And secondly, who selected them? Because we do know that if you go or if you disagree with him, you're assumed to be excommunicated from whatever position or whatever office that you hold. And so you can make it look like what you want it to look like. But secondly, I believe that no matter what goes on in the White House, whether we like it or dislike it or disagree with it, it's doing one thing for certain. That's keeping us on our knees. And because of who's in the White House, we're challenged more to pray more. And we don't pray those cute prayers. When my job is on the line, I lay me down to sleep prayer. No, I don't do that. Lord, I need you. Oh, how I need you. And because it's in him we live, it's in him we move, it's in him we have our being, we've got to trust God. And a lot of times in the church, we sing the song, I will trust in the Lord until I die, until it's time to trust him. It's easy to trust him when everything's going well. But when all hell is breaking loose, can you still trust him?
Pastor Jordan.
Yeah.
So faith without works is dead, is what the scriptures say, correct?
Correct.
So how is it that you can encourage us to remain solid in our faith? And we did everything we could do, going to the polls, encouraging people to vote, and seeing all of the stuff that has happened as a byproduct of Donald Trump being the president of the United States. What is it that we need to be talking about right now as far as encouraging our people to remain faithful to God? Because there's a lot of people losing hope.
If I could start from your first question,
Yeah.
work my way up. I think when you read the book of Exodus, I used to grapple and wrestle with why would God allow his people, Israel, to be in Egyptian bondage for 400 years. And then when you read the scripture, in essence, God says, I allowed evil that I may get the victory.
Mm.
And there are sometimes God allows certain things because in the end, he wants to show those who think they are in control who's really in control. To your question, your immediate question, our hope is in Jesus Christ, regardless of who's in the White House, be it Democrat, Independent, or Republican. God is neither conservative, moderate, or liberal. He's sovereign.
Yeah. Yeah.
He is God. To my brother's comment, when you read James Cone's work, The Cross and the Lynching Tree, Black theology, Black liberation theology, God is on the side of the oppressed. You have to make a decision. Do you trust God or you don't? Because if you can only trust God, as Pastor Bolton said, when things are well, that trust is shallow.
Yeah.
Because nothing will always go your way. And I do believe these types of settings, these types of events in life, they will separate church people from Christians.
Religious folk.
Because you can have religion and you can go to church
Mm.
and yet not trust in God. And so faith is personal. And I believe God can never grow us in comfortable places.
Mm.
He has to stretch us to grow us.
Wow.
And I do believe that God said in this season, are you keeping your eyes on him or me? Because if your eyes are on him, him being Trump, you'll be confused. You'll be discouraged. But if you keep your eyes on me, because peace is not the absence of chaos. It is resting in Jesus Christ.
Right.
And so we who know God, we rest in that. Do we like it? Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
But at the same time, this also reveals underlining issues that some thought that the crucifixion or the end of affirmative action and the end of DEI, that was fine as long as it was affecting brown people
Yep.
Yeah.
and black people. But when you discovered it affected blonde-haired, blue-eyed white women, white men who voted for Trump, men and women with children who have disabilities voted for Trump. And now you're trying to gut Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare. Even in that, we have to be careful how we treat people.
Yeah.
Because what you meant for evil,
There it is.
what you meant for evil.
That's right.
Reverend McFadden, you have, let's give it up for that response as well.
Well said.
You know, it's interesting, you know, because a lot of what I've heard, you know, is tied to people that are in the faith, those that are men and or women of God that are focused on Him. But there are a lot of people that are not, and they're looking for, you know, salvation possibly, or they're looking for hope. And a lot of them, per certain surveys that I've been reading, poll numbers as it relates to the view of how people are viewing the Democratic Party versus the Republican Party, and those that are in church or not in church, those numbers are seemingly dwindling as far as their belief that the church is an answer for them. In the midst of what we're seeing, and you know, these things are happening in real time. People are losing their jobs in real time. People are being deported in real time. People are having the threat of Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security cut in real time. And they see that there's a man who is a 34-count convicted felon who can be the president of the United States, but they got to fill out an application and check a box that they stole $20 out of the till when they was 18,
Yeah.
and it's going to be on their record for life.
Right.
How do you speak life into people like that are not in church, that are looking for an answer and believe the church may be quiet?
You know, I think it goes back to what Dr. Jordan mentioned earlier, that word hope. I think we preach hope against hope. I think we preach hope in the midst of chaos. And I think Jesus Christ is the perfect example of hope in the midst of chaos. And what I think part of our challenge is, and even those of us who are in church, is we've been so accustomed to having things quickly and having things resolved immediately that sometimes we don't understand that there's a process in faith, there's a process even in politics, and how we speak out for the less fortunate, for the least of these. And I don't think that many people recognize that while it appears that the church to some degree is quiet, there are those of us who are working with our political officials, working with organizations to try to right the wrongs that are happening in our country right now. And unfortunately, things don't move as quickly as we want them to be. But, you know, I look at the life of Dr. Martin Luther King. You know, of course, we had the I Have a Dream speech, but I was looking at a documentary the other day. There's so many things that happened before the I Have a Dream speech. There were so many other things that happened before the Montgomery bus boycott. But folks don't highlight that. It's the final product, or it's the victory that we see. But the work is happening even in the midst of planning for that victorious moment. But I think it's very difficult for us as pastors and churches, I think, in this day and time, at least for me, let me speak for me, to continue to encourage folks, particularly those who don't know Jesus Christ as a personal Lord and Savior, and we're trying to get them into a relationship. It's very difficult to try to balance what they're seeing, what they're hearing, and what they're feeling. And I think that's the real challenge of a pastor. You know, people sometimes will say, well, I can get up and do what Pastor Bozen does on a Sunday morning. But, you know, we labor before the Lord to say, Lord, in the midst of what's happening in the world, what is the word that you want me to give to the people to keep hope alive, to keep them from giving up, to keep them, to let them know that better is coming. And that's a real heavy load, so as to not get caught up in the nuances of what's happening.
Pastor Bosa.
Yeah. My thought process is this. The church, in this day and age, we deal with a plethora of different things. Back in the day when we didn't have social media, all you had was your church or the local TV news. But now you can pick up your phone, and whether it's fake news or real news, you begin to trust in what you see rather than what you've been taught. And so, yes, my thing is this. The hope that you placed in him, now let me offer you some new hope. Because what you're doing, you saw that.
I call
It's a good segue. See how you make that plug. you know?
But the thing, it is what it is, because what's been working for you apparently is not working any longer. And so we offer Christ to you. And it's in him we live and move and have our being. And it's simple. It's real simple, but it's complex at the same time. I trust in the one who woke me up this morning, but I did not always trust. I've learned to trust because I've gone through some things that has caused me to put my trust in him. And when you've gone through some things, then you can understand you have a nobody but Jesus type testimony that it was him that brought me out. When Pookie, Nook Nook, and Ray Ray could not help me, I called on the God I serve. And he will do what no other power can do. And so that's what we offer. Every week, every Sunday, that's what we're offering, hope in hopeless situations. Because at the end of the day, all we have is what we believe in.
Reverend Jordan. Yeah, give it up.
I thank God for Dr. McFadden and Pastor Bosa. I'm more of a renegade.
All right, let's talk about it then. Let's talk about it.
Because, you know, I have those conversations with unsaved, unchurched folk. The same people who didn't give a damn about the church. They've disparaged the church. They've disparaged the preacher, the church ain't this, the church ain't that. Preacher ain't this, preacher want money, preacher. But now when all hell breaks loose, now you women have all the damn answers.
Yeah. Come on.
You ain't prayed, you ain't read the Bible, you don't go to church, you don't commit to nothing. But now, all of a sudden, you want God to come in. Some of this stuff is our fault.
Come on.
You have to, number one, have some initiative, spiritually, personally, and politically.
Politically, that's right.
You don't vote in local elections. That's where it starts.
Right.
Mayors, city council,
School board.
judges, school board,
Water board.
water board. That's right. All of that. You don't do nothing.
Yeah.
There is no community engagement and involvement until you're sick, until it's your child, until you've been accosted, until your money's on the line. And so I think you just can't be selfish and self-indulgent when it comes to me and mine. That, as Dr. McFadden said, man, people died to vote. Water hoses, dogs. Now, I do believe one of the issues is, I believe the further generations are born from the struggle doesn't matter to them. It matters to people who are older.
Yeah.
They've dealt with it. We don't have all the answers. We struggle and wrestle with this stuff just like everyone else does. God does talk to us.
Yeah.
But at the same time, miracles come out of a mess. Miracles are born out of chaos. But at the same time, what are you doing as an individual, be it saved or not? What are you doing in your community? Who are you mentoring? Who are you sharing? Who are you trying to help in your local area? Because guess what? The church can't do it all. And unfortunately, people love to come, people who have not mentioned church in 4 years under Joe Biden. Now it's the church. It's the preacher. Now this is the same preacher you didn't like 2 years ago.
Right, right.
The same church you left saying the preacher wanted all the money. But now, this dude's in office. Now you want the church to have all the answers.
You know, I think that, and you bring up some great points. Growing up, I didn't start going to church until I was like 14 years old. And that was because I went for, what do you call it, a choir revival, whatever you want to call it. And in full disclosure, it was a chick that I was
I knew that was coming.
There was a chick I was liking that was singing in the choir. So, you know, that's how I ended up there. And I ended up joining the church or whatever. But, amen. And amen again. But no, so I didn't have this being brought up in the church type of a situation. So, you know, I went wayward in a lot of ways. But the point that I was trying to make, though, historically, I'm a history guy. So in studying history, I realized that many of the major movements, particularly as it relates to black people, the foundation was the black church. And so you brought up the Montgomery bus boycott. That was planned with about 13, 15 people at a AME church.
That's right.
Black church. Prior to that, Dr. King went to Baton Rouge to go sit at the feet of Reverend T.J. Jemison, who had done a bus boycott in Baton Rouge.
That's right.
Prior to that, the church.
That's right.
Going even further back, you talk about Richard Allen.
Yes, sir.
Richard Allen, the founder of the AME Church. But if you look at what he did historically, it was centered around empowerment of the community, educating the community, providing services and goods and things that the black people needed coming out of slavery. And then John Henry Jack Yates, you know, coming out of slavery, John Henry Jack Yates.
Okay, all right,
yes, sir.
all right. All right.
Pastor Jack Yates founded schools. He did things that he bought Emancipation Park with some people to have something for black people to congregate. My point is that the black church and the black church leaders were the foundation. And I think that's where a lot of people who may have grown up in church or have a familiarity with the power of how the church, the black church, was involved in our communities, don't see that same thing in many instances.
But not to cut you off, but guess what? There was also a time that people had respect for the church.
For the church.
And people had respect for the pastor.
Yeah.
So do you think it's the people's fault that they lost respect for the church and the pastors, or is it the church's fault?
Well, at the same time, that's an interesting scenario because people lose respect for other entities, but they still go. They still shop. They still purchase. It is only the church who wants perfection when they aren't perfect. We're all sinners saved by grace. And there is no perfect pastor, perfect church, perfect people. We're all in this together. And so in my opinion, this is no time to be finger pointing the church. No, man, listen, foundation, the church. Yes, are there pastors who've messed up? Absolutely. Is there chaos in church? Absolutely. Are church folk messy? Absolutely. Hypocrites in church? Absolutely. But guess what? That's life. The same hypocrites at church in your family, on your job. You look in the mirror at one every day.
Yeah.
But you know, I want to say this, in response to what we're talking about here. This is great conversation. But at some point, somebody has to say, enough is enough. We got to fix this. And that's what we're hearing from D.C., from Donald Trump, that we got to drain the swamp. We got to fix. There's fraud. There's waste. There's this. There's that. We got to get rid of this. Cut this. Slash that. We got to fire these folks because I am the one that's going to change things. So what I'm saying is that I feel like the church
Absolutely.
has to be that voice to say enough is enough. We got to step up. We got to empower people. We got to be the solution. And so I don't think that it's a lot of people that are just pointing the finger that we need to focus on. We need to focus on those that actually want the church
Absolutely.
to lead.
Absolutely.
They want the church to step up. They want the church to be the voice that it's always been. And I don't believe that we should berate the church or the church leaders. Like you say, there's imperfect people in every. Hell, I worked for a bank for 11 years that was imperfect, but I was getting paid, you know what I'm saying, very well. You know, and so, yeah, I may have cussed at home and said all I need to say, but I showed back up to work.
Absolutely.
You know, so I get what you're saying,
yeah.
but at some point, though, the reason that I did show back up is because although there was some people that I didn't like and there were some imperfections, they did a SWOT analysis every year to find out where the problems were so they can identify and fix those issues. And I feel like that's what the church should be.
But Jeff,
They should be the ones that are saying, this is what we got to do to fix what's going on. And that's what people are looking for, leadership.
Jeff, but here's the problem. Here's the problem. Pastor Jordan made a valid point because with every generation, they get further away from the struggle and they're not really affected by the struggle. And now you have black people who live in River Oaks and Missouri City and all over the country and have amassed some things that what we are struggling with, they really don't struggle with. And because they're not affected by it, they don't really galvanize to the struggle because they're not affected by it. But for those individuals who are going through the struggle, yes, we can galvanize them to a certain extent. But hell, what the problem is, if I'm a dollar past broke, then I'm okay until next week when I am broke. So the church struggles with social media and everything else. And because it does not touch you the same way it touches you, then I'm going to pray for you over here.
Yeah, and my mind goes back to Dr. E.V. Hill, who he jokingly, but he was serious in saying that, Lord, please don't bless these Negroes with Cadillacs and don't bless them with, a house in the gated community because they'll stay home on Sundays and wash their Cadillacs and they'll get farther and farther away from the pulse of the people. And I think about the fact that you mentioned that we need a leader. When we, a few weeks ago, tried to have the boycott, I think, of Target and other things, we had one or two black pastors and leaders who said, well, this is what we're going to do. And they sent it around the country. And there were Negroes who still went to Walmart, still went to Target, still went to Amazon. So I think if there's going to be persons who raise up to be leaders of our communities and churches, we got to be on one accord to say this is what we're going to do to help change our generation. Not doing what I want to do because I made it or I ain't a part of that. That's the mindset I think that we've got to overcome both in the church and outside the church. And my deacon at my church says all the time, every resource that we need, we have already. If we would just come together and band together, follow those persons who are perhaps leading the way. But we got to, if you're call yourself a leader and nobody is following you, you simply taking a walk. But we got to a long walk. But we got to at least come together and recognize that we are better together than we are apart.
But
May I say something? And to Mac's point, even while King was in the Birmingham jail, it was black preachers who told him leave. You're causing trouble for us. But yet there has to be those of us like John Lewis who don't mind getting into good trouble. So we thank God for Jamal Harrison Bryant. We thank God for Al Sharpton. We thank God for Freddie Haynes. We thank God for those who are paving the way for us to emulate and to walk behind. But there will always be detractors.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Especially people, brown people who now are part of the evangelical movement.
That's a whole.
That's a whole nother. That's a whole nother podcast series that we.
But you notice you didn't see any black folks in the picture with the president, those who were laying hands on him.
But even if they were, they probably looked just like the ones in the pictures. inside, I'm talking about.
But you have to understand, I believe too, that when God freed Israel from Egypt, I believe all of the slaves didn't leave Egypt. There were still some who thought it was okay in Pharaoh's house.
Yeah.
There are some black folk who will never identify with the struggle. Because guess what? Some black people live for white approval.
Harriet Tubman, it was attributed to her saying that I freed 1,000 slaves and I could have freed many more if they only knew they were slaves.
Absolutely.
That's it.
And there's a lot of us that feel like, to your point, Pastor Boson, that we've arrived. We stand in all the lands, Sugar Land, Pearland, the Woodlands, and all of these different places. And you know,
And
we
white
can,
folk coming back to the hood.
right, and now we get mad calling it gentrification when they improving the neighborhood. Actually, when you think about it. But my point that I'm trying to make is that even with those folks at the Montgomery bus boycott, for instance, they did not all want to get. They didn't want to stop riding the bus.
Right.
No.
They didn't want to walk. They didn't want to
Sacrifice.
ride buses. They didn't want to make that. It was only a small remnant, and then it started to mushroom and grow and balloon because, you know, people were consistent. That remnant of people, that small remnant was consistent, and then people started to get. But everybody didn't get on board. There was some black folks that still rode in the back of the bus.
Yeah.
But you have to start
as they were
somewhere.
supposed- You have to start somewhere, and that's why I'm challenging all of you sitting here and all the black ministers, man. You know, whether you getting a government grant or not, I think it's important for all of you to lead, and we're willing to follow. At least I am. You know, if we actually have, let's start with
An agenda.
start with a small remnant of people on one accord amongst you. You know, forget those that ain't. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of them that's not because, you know, like they got good cushy positions. They getting money from the government. You know, faith-based, what they call it, faith-based money. You know, they got to keep quiet. Or that money going to get Trumpified, you know, or whatever, and then jacked from them. You know, but I wanted to read something to you, and I don't know if you all saw this, and I want to get your thoughts on it. Because that's why I feel like we need to educate our parishioners and the community at large for this. There's you know, I serve as an elected official as well, and I'm on the national board of the National League of Cities. So that's all the municipalities, cities, towns, and villages across the United States. And we actually are the ones that work with the administration and the people on Capitol Hill, the staffers, et cetera, the legislators, to formulate public policy. The public policy that benefits states and counties and municipalities. So CARES Act is an example of what our committee, I'm the chair of our Community Economic Development. So we work CARES Act, American Rescue Plan Act, Infrastructure Bill, all those things. But now with all of the programs, grants, contracts that are being led by the federal government, Donald Trump put out a list of words that he now says are banned words that you cannot use when it comes to these contracts. So he's going, or has gone, or instructed Department of Defense, Veteran Affairs, all these different HUD, to go and look, and if these words are in there, that you gotta either cancel the contract or change the verbiage. And you gotta, you know, basically take back what they, you know, if they got awarded a grant, they gotta take it back because it has these words in it. And I'm gonna read some of them so you know what we dealing with. At risk.
Black.
Black is one of the words, literally, black. Female is one of them. Diverse, diversity, equity, equitable, equality, gender,
That's all us.
race, implicit bias, inequity, DEI, minorities, multicultural, oppression, privilege, prejudice, racial, racism, and I could go on and on. Underrepresented, underserved. A lot of those define who?
Us.
Most black and brown people in underserved communities. And so why am I saying this is why is this important? I feel like if we're gonna really try to change the direction that this country is swiftly going in, because he's gonna do a lot of damage in these 4 years. I'm just gonna be honest with you. He's in office and he's got the power to do what he wants to do. You know, sadly, and Congress is not checking him because they have the majority. So that's why I feel like it's so important, pastors, that we have you all as that bully pulpit, that mouthpiece, that educational system for us to educate the community, and we have to do it sooner than later.
If I could make a suggestion, anyone who wants to understand the genesis of racism, I would suggest you read a book entitled Stand Your Ground by Dr. Kelly Brown Douglas, who is one of the deans at Union Seminary. It's not about stand your ground law. She gives the actual genesis of the thinking process of how white people, Caucasian people, where it started, the thought process of how they became in their minds better than any class of people. I think one of the things is you can't fight unless you understand. You have to understand where it began in order to fight it. Just because he's in there right now, you have to understand that this ain't just started. This is a lifelong thing. This mindset began in the backwoods in Germany. That let's keep our race pure.
Yeah.
You know, so this is
That's what's happening.
if you which is why now I believe the outrage. You have now veterans and mothers with sick children who. But here is the whole thing. Why did it take this for you to regret your vote?
Because you was white before you was
Absolutely.
had a sick child or disabled or a veteran. Your whiteness trumped everything else.
Absolutely. You ignored his physical aggression towards women. You ignored his mocking the handicapped. You ignored his being belligerent towards women of color, black people, brown people. But isn't it amazing? Immigration is only a thing when it comes to brown people.
And I'm gonna tell you what the biggest thing we ignored, Pastor McFadden, is Project 2025.
Absolutely.
He put it right there in our face.
Right?
Did.
He told you what he was gonna do.
Absolutely.
And he's, so you can't get mad at somebody who tells you
And he can't keep anything. He'll let you know what he's planning to do.
Right.
Because
But again,
he runs his mouth so much.
But who read it?
I read it.
I'm saying,
many of our people did not.
I read it, I wrote about it.
Many people did not.
Yep.
Black people, brown people, and white people didn't think it would affect them.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if
That's
you
the
ask
bottom
people
line.
right now, what is 2025? They really couldn't tell you.
They talking about that's the year we in right
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the year
But,
we're in
but
right
now it's again, because being diverse also means a handicap ramp.
Yeah.
Being diverse means a restroom for the handicapped, the disabled. Being diverse is more than just black and brown. But
It is.
when you don't think it's going to affect you, you don't fight, you don't worry, you don't care. But now there's moral outrage. There should have been moral outrage the first time that man said it's okay to grab a woman.
Bottom, yeah.
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 That should have disqualified him on every level to be in that seat.
Absolutely.
Yet here we are.
Here we are.
Yet here we are,
This is
and
no longer-
our reality is we're faced with this
And
man
I
in
think it's
office.
going to take some partnerships as well, because I've heard politicians say, well, we're waiting for the church, and sometimes we don't know. And I'm speaking from my own personal experience. I don't know about other pastors. Sometimes we don't know some of the issues or the challenges that you, as a city council, or you as a state rep, might know what's happening. If you tell me, Pastor, these are the issues, we need some people to show up, I'll have some people to show up. We need some people to volunteer, I'll have some people to show up and volunteer, so that we can make a united front and concerted effort. But if we don't have that partnership, just because we're pastors don't mean it's automatically going to happen and just,
Right.
magically appear, but it has to be some level of partnership so that we can make a greater impact. And we can make an educated effort and decision about how to move forward.
Well, you know what? We're in a situation right now where, as we're navigating these turbulent, airways, we're building the plane and we flying it at the same time.
Yeah.
And y'all could probably appreciate what I'm about to share, being pastors and all. I'm reminded right now what we need to be and what we need to do of Nehemiah when he was trying to rebuild the wall, and he had good intentions. He wanted his people and where he came from to be better represented, right? He wanted to build a wall, rebuild the wall that had been torn down and left in disrepair. And the thing about it, though, is he had opposition. He had, Sanballat and Tobias, right? And I remember reading.
Come on, Doctor.
Come on now, yeah.
Come on, Doctor.
I'm gonna pass around the offering bucket here in just a minute. Let me get through this now. I'm about to close. No, but it said that as he was had this opposition, they were building the wall, but they also realized they were in danger because there were threats involved. So they had a weapon in one hand and tools to build in the other hand. And that's really where we are. And that's why my strong encouragement of you all as black men, black pastors in the black church is to help us by rebuilding this wall that's being torn down in real time every day.
And we also need people in politics, to take the torch from Jackson, Lee, and Turner. They fought for us.
Yeah.
They kept us informed. And whoever succeeds in that seat and other seats, next man.
Yeah.
Well,
And then-
Doc, she waving at you, she want to say something.
So we want to go ahead and toss it real quick to Danette. I was waiting on her because she normally does her little commercial or whatever, but she was probably in the back working as hard as she always does. Let's turn it over real quick to Danette Davis, y'all.
All right. Thank you. I think that they're wondering, Reverend Jeff, I don't know. You do your thing, but see, you got folk who really know what's up. So Jeff would talk from the Bible and stuff, but see, tonight I think he was probably paying attention to exactly what he was saying. The experts in the room.
Yes, indeed.
We want to thank you. Oh, my God. You pastors are doing an excellent job. I'm Danette Davis, and this building is K. Davis Showroom Plus. We have a foundation, K. Davis in the Community, and we produce this show because we know the community is first, and it's real important. We were thinking about this long before the November thing happened that you guys have been talking about, and we thank the audience for being here. Yeah, right? What I want to do, and it's wonderful, we're going to have them do a song while we take a little break, but I want to thank our sponsor, CBC Bendy Davis Insurance.
Yeah.
Charles Davis. You can see they got his name up on the screen. For those of you who don't know, Charles Davis is my brother. What have you. We just happen to have the same last name right now, what have you. But we appreciate you very much. And what I want you to know, like guys, if you want to move around a little bit, I went on to put some fruit out. And there's water, and there's juice and things like that. They're fixing, so we'll have some salads and some other bites after we're done. But right now, if you want to, while the band is doing another number, you want to move around a little bit, and then we'll bring these wonderful gentlemen back to close and do the final portion. Is that okay? All right, thank you. Okay, you guys got it. Did you introduce yourself? Okay, I don't know if they introduced themselves. I'm telling, Erica, come on now. Erica is like world renowned. Let them know girl, let them know who. Yes, she is a celebrity. She really is, and she's excellent. So please tell them who you are. We have to support each other. Come on.
I'm laughing because of an inside joke, but okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Erica Jones, stage, Erica Nocturnal. And this is Charles. Charles goes everywhere I go. And y'all make some noise for Charles. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. When he hired me, he got the whole deal. Absolutely. The whole band. Now I feel like I'm on display. Get some water, juice, please. Move around. Come on, come on, come on. Oh, everybody snap your fingers, come on. Come on. Oh, everybody snap your fingers, come on. Come on. Yeah, 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 yeah. Come on. Mother, mother, there's so many of you crying. Hey, brother, 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 there's too many of you dying. You know we got to find a way to bring some love in here today. And Father, Father, there's no need to escalate. No, war is not the answer. I prefer love, there's no need for hate. You know we got to find a way to bring some love in here today. Come on, picket lines, picket signs. Don't punish me with brutality. Come on and talk to me so you can see, hey, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Everybody snap, what's going on? Tell me what's going on. Ooh. Yeah, what's going on? Play, Charles. Yeah. Play, Charles. Hey, Father, Father, there's no need to escalate, no. You know, war is not the answer. Only love can conquer hate. You know we got to find a way to bring some love in this world today. Come on, I say, picket lines, picket signs. Don't punish me with brutality. Come on and just talk to me so you can see, hey, what's going on? Hey, what's going on? What's going on? Yeah, what's going on? Tell me what's what's going on. Ooh, yeah, yeah. But I know we're blessed in the city. We're blessed in the field. We're blessed when we come and when we go. We cast down every stronghold. Sickness and poverty must cease, for the devil is defeated. The devil is defeated. We're blessed in the city. We're blessed in the field. We're blessed when we come and when we go. We cast down every stronghold. Sickness and poverty must cease, for the devil is defeated. Yeah, the devil is defeated. Come on. Yeah, 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 yeah. Ooh. Yeah. Say blame, blame. Where's boss? He's supposed to be helping me. Say blame, blame. Anybody in the building say blame, blame. I heard one person, thank you. Say blame. Yeah, see, that's what I need right there. One more time. I got one, that's all I need. Say blame, blame, blame. Everybody say blame, blame. Crowd participation, it's okay. Everybody say blame, blame, blame. Come on, say blame. I'm up to about 5 people. I need about 10. Come on. Everybody say blame, blame, blame. Snap your fingers, say blame, blame. It's all right to move. Say blame, bless, blame, 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 blame. Yeah. We're blessed in the city. We're blessed in the field. We're blessed when we come and when we go. We cast down every strong. Sickness and poverty must cease, for the devil is defeated. Hey, for the devil is defeated. Boasting, the devil is defeated. The devil is defeated. Said the devil is defeated. Yeah, the devil is defeated. The devil is defeated. The devil is defeated. Late in the midnight hour, God's gonna turn it around. It's gonna work in your favor. Yes, it will. Late in the midnight hour, God's gonna turn it around. And around, and around, and around. Late in the midnight hour, tears streaming down your face. He can turn it around, turn it around, turn it around. Late in the midnight hour, God can turn it around. And around, 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 yeah, and around, and around. Yes, he will. And around, and around, and around, and around, and around, and around. I see you moving your feet. Come on, clap your hands this evening. I said it's all right to clap your hands this evening.
Church.
Everybody, come on, clap your hands this evening. I said it's all right to clap your hands this evening. Yeah. Say yeah, yeah, yeah. It's all right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's all right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. it's all right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because we're blessed in the city. We're blessed in the field. We're blessed when we come and when we go. We cast out every stronghold, sickness and poverty must cease. For the devil is defeated. Yeah, the devil is defeated. The devil is defeated.
Oh, I love that. Girl, right? All right, all right. Before we bring them right back, I did not do two things. For those of you who remember, on who may not know, on Saturday we did an exhibit for our photographer, Vicky. She did her first, it was a premiere to the big exhibit that she's doing. So if the pictures you see around here are left, her, Obama, everything you see is left over from the exhibit. So take a minute and take a look. And when you hear from her about her exhibit, we want you to support. Okay,
Yes,
that's what we
indeed.
do. We're community, so I want you to know that this is Vicky Pink. This is the work that you see around. Book, are you over there? Raise your hand. Book is a comedian. We have to support our own. So when she asks you to come to her shows, we want you to show up for her as well. Just so you know, we support our own. And Jeff,
Come to these shows.
you're back.
Please come. Yes.
Y'all, we are back. This is, of course, Trending Tuesdays, and your boy, Jeffrey L. Boney's in the building. We got our live studio audience. Let's give it up. That's what I'm talking about. Yes, indeed. I know that I was given the task of giving you all these envelopes. I don't know what's in them,
Let the Lord use you.
but I hope it's pressed down, shaken together, and run it over with something in it. Yeah, with something in it. Now, I will say, first of all, let's give it up also for Erica Nocturnal.
Yeah.
And I've had the blessing of listening to Erica Nocturnal doing constituent outreach in the community, not at the Fellowship Church. Not at the Fellowship Church, but constituent outreach, and always enjoy. But always a blessing. All right, so let's we have a few more minutes left. Want to definitely thank our guests. Let's give it up again for Reverend McFadden, Reverend Boson, and Reverend Jordan.
Thank you.
I always get confused. Everybody got different titles. I don't want to pastor, minister, bishop, reverend. I don't know what the minister. I don't know what the right thing to call everybody. Because I actually had somebody tell me, actually, Brother Boney, I'm a bishop. And I was like, oh, okay.
Just call me a servant.
Yeah.
That's it.
I was like, all right, well, my bad. I ain't know. But I want to say that this was brought, these envelopes was brought to you by CB Davis Insurance Agency.
Awesome.
Amen. Yes. All right, so.
And since they've had their plugs, C.B. Davis is a member of my church.
All right. And that church is?
C3.
C3.
C3. Okay, all right. We want to make sure we get everybody's plugs in. Everybody to plug something. So as we close, guys, I've enjoyed the conversation. Something interesting that Reverend Jordan and I were talking about as Erica Nocturnal was performing. And your name, brother, again?
Charles Tyson.
Charles Tyson. Let's give it up for him
Yeah.
as well. Gotta give love to the guitarist.
Absolutely.
But
And he's
no.
a member of the Fellowship Church.
Oh, okay, all right, the Fellowship Church. You ain't say that, pal. You ain't. But no.
I didn't want to just take over.
Yeah. That's a great segue comment. That's a great segue comment because what we were talking about is, the challenge for African American black churches and black church leaders to work together.
Yeah.
The challenge that we face, and it's not just mutually exclusive to the black church.
Yeah.
It's black organizations, it's certain black businesses and entities where everybody wants the credit or wants to be the chief and don't want to be the Indian.
Absolutely.
And that's really where a lot of these movements and these efforts fall short and die because, some people are more concerned about a title and or who is the leader.
Who's in front of the camera?
Who's well? I mean, it may not necessarily even be in front of the camera. It's just who's leading the effort, whose name is on the marquee. You know, at the top, like who's on the flyer.
Yeah.
You know, whose face, picture, name, bishop, whatever is on the flyer. You know, and it's interesting, man. You know, one of the things we talked about before the show started was, you know, like, you know, what church I was attending. And it's interesting because I was attending a church. I'm not going to say the name. I'm not going to plug this name. But people know, you know, the church. And I remember when this was around Trayvon Martin. Trayvon Martin had, of course, been murdered. And I say murdered. Hunted down and murdered by George Zimmerman. And George Zimmerman had just gotten off. They found him not guilty. They acquitted him. And I remember, you know, my heart sinking into my stomach, knowing, because of course I have young children. I mean, I had young children at the time, but I have children. I have a son. And just thinking about, you know, he's tall. My son's about 6'4", and you know, he was tall as a young kid, and you know, he would frequent and go places and do things, and you know, not wanting the fear of having a black son subjected to something like that by a vigilante wannabe cop who was policing the neighborhood. And I remember after the acquittal, I was looking forward to the pastor's message because there was devastation going on. People were hurting because of this young man that many of us don't even know personally, but we felt some connection. And we wanted this man to be found guilty because he was guilty. Let's be clear. Because just like everybody say OJ was guilty, you know, we know for sure this guy was guilty. Well, not everybody, you know what I mean. I say all that to say that the message that the minister delivered was that we need to do a better job of training our young men on how to deal with elders, our adults, as if to blame Trayvon Martin for his own death. And that hurt me to the core because as a pastor, as a black pastor, going to a black church, paying my tithes, my offerings, and all this and that, and looking for you for guidance to help me through this most troublesome time in my life, you know, you victim blame Trayvon Martin. That hurt me. And I actually talked to them about this, and they were like, no, well, you know, basically like we had to teach them how to control their emotions, our young people. And I was like, this young man didn't do anything. Why am I saying this? Is that, you know, we have a lot of stuff going on now that we need you all's leadership and stuff that doesn't make sense. And you got to help us to process it, for one, but then two, be able to work with us to understand it, to not only process it, but to understand it and to be able to live our lives without fear, but also know that we can come to the church and they're going to defend us. They're going to fight for us. They're going to advocate. I didn't feel he advocated for that young man in his life. And so I'm just saying, as we're talking about coming together, I just feel that, you know, less of who gets the credit, but also understanding the realness of what we as a people are dealing with in this real world. And I mean, it ain't just thoughts and prayers.
Right.
You feel me? This is some real stuff we dealing with in life. You know, you know, many people are afraid. I know you're not supposed to fear, because you know, fear is not of God. But there's a lot to be afraid of if you don't have trust and faith in God. And so, pastors, as we close for the night, I just need you all to chime in on where we go from here and how do you address those individuals that are needing you all more now than ever. I'll start with you, Pastor.
I was hoping you to come last.
Yeah. Give you some time to think.
You know, I think it's a tall order, but we're up to the task to really respond, as I started in the beginning by saying, starting with hope. I mean, and getting those partnerships where we can make greater impact in our community and not being afraid to to lift up our voices. And I'm not deflecting when I say this, but the same way we have to encourage our members, they need to know, members need to know that we're not free from the same challenges that they are experiencing. And so, you know, if your Social Security is affected, ours may be as well. But we still have to preach that there is a God, that there's hope beyond this, that there's still a lesson to be learned, and that God is still in control. And sometimes it's very difficult to do that when you yourself are in a challenge and you're still trying to encourage members. But that's the call that God has given to us. And I think that there are a lot of us, these three included, who aren't concerned about who gets the title or who gets the glory or whose church's name is highlighted. We simply want to do the work. And I think that partnering with you and other city officials who have this mindset in mind is going to be key to making a difference. My background is not only in ministry but in education, so I'm a very strong proponent of being engaged in the educational process for our children, because I believe that's where it starts. Outside of the church and outside of the home, education, and Nelson Mandela, is the most powerful weapon that you can use to help change the world. And so I believe that education is certainly key. You know, I think that I mentioned to you during the break, as my sister shared, you know, people like our own Roland Martin and even Jasmine Crockett, who is, whether we agree with her approach or not, I think she's making some good trouble, some noise that many of us can get behind to try to make a change in our nation. But hope is all I have.
Yes, great response.
I believe Dr. McFadden said building partnerships with elected officials is key. But we also got to understand that it is more, quote unquote, medium, small churches than there are mega churches. And so when the elected officials begin partnerships, a lot of times smaller or medium-sized churches or pastors are left out because we don't have the mega ministries. We don't have hundreds of people. We don't have those entities to where they feel like we can make a difference. But if we would all galvanize and come together, I believe that change is more effective when you have more than one. And when I say that, I mean this. If you go to the beach and you pick up one hand of sand, the more you squeeze it, the more you'll lose. But if you just hold it, then you'll hold what you have. And so we are all grains of sand. Mm-hmm. But if we come together, we can be more impactful. We can lead a movement. And it's not about who's in charge, who's in leadership, who's on the marquee. It's about affecting positive change, because our communities are affected more so than anything. And so that's where I am on that.
Thank you. Closing us out, Reverend George.
I think for me, it is the black preacher going back to black prophetic preaching. My time at Samuel DeWitt Parker School of Theology helped redefine how I read the Bible, how I read the book of Exodus, how I see the least, the left out, and the marginalized. That the preacher has to preach to their people, their issues. Be it social economic, be it social justice, political. Dr. A. Lewis Patterson said the black preacher has a problem because we learn how to take apart the text, but we never study our people in the neighborhoods that we pastor in. And that we have to get back to that black preaching prophetic voice of Dr. King, Mac King Carter, Gardner Calvin Taylor, and others who now sleep with the ancestors. So I believe the pulpit is where it starts, in black preaching.
Yes. Well, as we close, let's give them a round of applause, everybody.
Yeah.
I just, I feel like, again, there's so much power with the church, and particularly the black church. When I say black church, I'm talking about there's the most powerful entity in the black community.
It's true.
And with the most assets and the most revenue. The revenue generator is the black church. That's true.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I feel like it has the most potential to make a difference. And I go back to about 20 years ago. I was driving around 3rd Ward, probably less than that, 15 years ago. I was driving around 3rd Ward, and I was leaving a meeting, and I was on my way to my office, and I just said, let me go just drive around the neighborhood. And as I started driving, man, I saw a church here. Drove a block or two, saw another church. By the time I counted, it was like 18 churches. And I was like, God. But then I looked at the surroundings. I looked at the dilapidated houses. I looked at some of the people on the streets, selling drugs or prostitutes, and just some of the various things, that our communities have. And I was like, we have all of this power within the church as it relates to God being power, all powerful. But our community is outside of them 4 walls looking like they look and being impacted the way they do. So I really believe and feel that if we can be more to the community than what we want the community to be to us as the church, by come in, we need to continue to go out of the 4 walls, touch those people that are seeking refuge, seeking hope and help. And I think that we'll start to see more of a difference. But it starts with y'all 3, so all the pressure's on y'all. The people that seen you on the podcast, so you can't run away from it. But
Mac is our leader.
what I will ask you all to do now, though, for those of you that are interested in your church, if you have a website, if you could just share with the listeners, the viewers, what your website is, so they can go check y'all out and hopefully come check you out on a Sunday or other day. We'll start with you.
We're the Cornerstone Community Church at 8200 West Glen Drive in Houston. Our website is thecornerstonehouston.org. You can find us on Facebook and or YouTube, as well as Instagram.
All right.
We'd love to see you.
And we'll come to you.
The Fellowship Church, 8802 Kilburn, between Tidwell and Homestead. I have no clue what the website is, but you can find us on Facebook. Yeah.
Say it again. FellowshipChurchTX.org.
Yeah,
All right.
but I know black folk. Y'all
So you had a
ain't-
ram
y'all-
in the bush. You had a ram in the bush.
Yeah,
over
yeah,
there.
but I know black folk. Y'all ain't doing that. Go to Facebook and find us on Facebook and Instagram at Fellowship Church of Texas. Also, we're having a community block party on April 12th, which will introduce our church to the neighborhood. And we'll be doing evangelism, baptism. It'll just be a whole day of celebration and to introduce. We've been there. We got to that church in November. November? Yeah. So we're new to the neighborhood. So that will be our way of as you say, going beyond the wall to connect church and community.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right,
Listen, I'm Pastor Darrell W. Boson, the senior pastor of the New Hope Church, a.k.a. the 8650,
Is that
where we're
your
taking
DJ
Jesus as he
That's
is,
your DJ voice?
people that they are. Yeah, I hope like me, you two are enjoying the blessings of our God on this fine day. Yes. But listen, did you just turn all the way around? New Hope Church, New Hope MBC 8650.org.
He don't know nothing.
Okay, New Hope.
He across the street.
We're located here in the Sunnyside area of town, the 51 8650 Ferdinand Street, Houston, Texas 77051. Come on out and see us.
Don't give the website again.
The website
You tried
is
so hard to get out, Joe.
newhopembc.org.
New Hope
newhopembc.org.
Okay. I
crossed
thought it
the
was an
street.
8650. I thought it was an 8650 in there.
No, not
Ain't no
in that.
8650. Okay,
That's
all
the
right,
address,
great.
Charles.
All right, y'all. We're going to toss it back over to Danette. You've been watching Trending Tuesdays. We're going to toss it over. I'll see y'all next Trending Tuesday.
All right.
Thank you so
right.
much.
Okay. One thing now. First of all, I want to put both the pastors. You across the street, and you used to be across the street. And we want to thank you because when he was across the street, he would have events over here. So see, community supports community. So we're glad to have you back in the house, and hope that we'll get to see you over here as well. I wanted to introduce your chef. This is Chef Eddie. He's got a salad that he was going to share with you. And then one of you mentioned that you wanted a little, and one of your customers, someone over here had a question. And I didn't know if you still wanted to. We can close out and you can do it. Okay. But they did have a question. So, Chef Eddie.
Hey, so many salads, so little time. This is a creation in progress, and each time I'm inspired by the simplest things. Sometimes the simplest things are the most healthiest for us. So I like to start with some of the basics and get us reacclimated to some of our super greens. And arugula is one of the top of the green list, along with many others. So this is one of my signature salads that I came up with in a creative moment. And it consists of arugula with a bed of zucchini and pepitas or pumpkin seeds and a drizzle of Italian olive oil, a very select blend. I think you'll find kind of enlightening. And also we have some my signature kale that's on the buffet table there. We're going to do some roasted carrots for you guys, as well as some other select items. But these are some of the things I like to concentrate on, and those are the greener side of things. Mostly greens. Welcome to my home.
Thank you. Now, who was that had a question there? It was. Did you have a question? You know? No. Yeah. Come on. Okay.
Anyone have any questions in
It
the
was one
audience?
person that asked Jeff, and one of the pastors did say, "I would like to know what they think we should be doing." So, yeah, I said, "Okay. Well, if someone has a question, then you're open.
She need,
My question, I think I spoke to,
You need to come up.
and I think I spoke to the pastor. I'm
can she
sorry.
come up to the...
They need you to come up so you can be on the air.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
If you listen to Roland Martin, which is a homeboy, he has a plan already. What we need to do is have Roland come down here and help us with this plan. Him and Jasmine Crockett both. Because we need to start working. We need to moving. We need to start moving. That was my question. I just want to have a town hall meeting for all of us.
You want to respond?
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Well, I'll say if we put that together or somebody can put it together, myself or Pastor Bolston will host it.
Absolutely.
Great.
And
She's asking for a town hall.
because we have Dean Pastor McFadden, Dr. McFadden as our leader.
Absolutely.
Yes. Where he goes, we will follow.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We'll put it together.
I'm out. Any other questions?
I'm Eleanor McDonald, and I remember Jeffrey Boney. I don't know if you remember us when you was at Bank of America.
Bank
And Magic
United.
Johnson did the labs for us in the north side of Houston.
Oh, yeah, Washington Mutual.
Washington Mutual.
Yes,
that's right.
ma'am.
Let me just give you a nugget. I was in the 18th chapter of Jeremiah, in Jeremiah 6. And he was talking about the potter, how he had to make you all over again. You know, the world has tried to remake you and have tried to label you and just do a lot of different things. But in that 6th verse, the potter said he had to come back and remake you all over again so you could be even stronger to fight the battles that you're going to have to deal with. And I was just reminiscing on that, and I went back farther and I started reading Jeremiah, and I just, and he was dealing with Israel. And I was saying, Lord, Israel is a tight set square. The mandate, what's going on. Israel is disobedient. God just dealt with them. But he had a second plan because he brought them back. And I'm just saying that I think if we encourage the people to come back to the church, but don't beat them down. They've made all kind of mistakes because we have a world system. And you live in the world, but you're not of the world. That's hard to deal with. And how do you help the communities come together and see the light of Jesus Christ in your life? Not your cars, not your home, not your buildings. Let's see the love. And I was saying, the gentleman right there with his head down, right there.
The one not paying attention? No, I'm just saying.
I just didn't remember his name. He made a statement about the church. And I disagree. I agree with you when you came out and you spoke about how the church can embrace the community.
Thank you so much.
Jeff,
Okay.
All right,
Anybody
is that-
else? Well, Jeff, when she saw you, she goes, "Is that Jeff Boney?" I said, "Yeah."
Yeah, we did a lot of developments. We partnered with Magic Johnson on a lot of developments when I was with Washington Mutual. So that's what she's
Okay.
speaking of. Yeah.
Okay. Anyone
All right,
else?
God bless y'all. We about to get
Okay.
up out of here, right?
All right.
All right.
Trending Tuesdays, the extended version.
All right, yeah.
Okay, y'all, it's time to eat. All right. Good night.
March 25th, don't miss it. When the world is in crisis, where does the church stand? Is it a guiding beacon of hope or a distraction from real issues? Join us on Trending Tuesdays, March 25th for episode 18 as we dive deep into the powerful conversation. Our guests are Pastor Daryl Bosson of New Hope Missionary Baptist Church, also known as the 8650. Dr. William Anthony Jordan, founder of the Fellowship Church of Houston, and Dr. Calvin Jerome McFadden Sr., pastor of Cornerstone Church of Houston, affectionately known as C3. Real talk, real issues, real faith. We're breaking it all down, how the church influences communities, the expectations of leadership, and its role in times of uncertainty. You don't want to miss this. Sponsored by ZB Davis Insurance and K. Davis in the Community Foundation. March 25th. Set your reminder. Tune in, get inspired, stay informed, then hit subscribe. Trending Tuesdays, because the conversation matters.